Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something really personal, something that could literally save your sight or the sight of someone you love. We're going to take one family's really tough lesson about eye disease and turn it into a guide for all of us. And you know what? It all started with just a few quiet words late one night.
Now, this wasn't some dramatic moment in a doctor's office. Nope. This was said in a kitchen, late at night. It was my dad, just trying to read the time on the microwave.
And that one little sentence, that was it. That was the turning point. It's when this vague fear our family had kind of hanging in the background suddenly became a real, scary diagnosis, glaucoma. And not just glaucoma, but glaucoma that had already caused vision loss. So today we're going to use his wake-up call to build a roadmap for your family. The goal here is simple. You shouldn't have to learn this stuff the hard way. You know, my dad's story, it didn't look like some big medical drama you see on TV. It just looked like, well, everyday life. It was full of these tiny little excuses that, looking back, were masking a huge problem.
And that's the really sneaky part, isn't it? For years, every little sign was just explained away. The print on the cereal box? Oh, it's just cheap print. The lighting in the living room? It's just bad lighting. And yeah, we'd check that family history box on the doctor's form. But do we ever really think about what it meant? Nope. We never connected the dots. But I think the biggest mistake we made was assuming that if something was really wrong, he'd notice. He would know. But he didn't.
So here's the thing, and this is so important. His diagnosis, it wasn't just a sad thing that happened. In a weird way, it was kind of a gift. It was the kick in the pants our family needed. It forced us to build a real system, a plan, to make sure my siblings and I, and our kids, don't have to go through the same thing.
Okay, so let's zoom out from this one story and look at the science. Because that little phrase we all use, oh, it just runs in the family. That is one of the most powerful pieces of medical information you will ever have. Seriously.
A lot of these serious eye diseases, and glaucoma is a big one, are silent killers of sight. They sneak up on you, and they're hereditary. In fact, a ton of research shows that your family history is one of the absolute strongest predictors. Sometimes it's an even bigger deal than, say, the eye pressure reading a doctor takes in the office.
This is why we have to completely change how we think about this. Family history is not just some boring checkbox on a medical form, right? It's not a footnote. Think of it like a bright, flashing warning light on your car's dashboard. It's basically free genetic information, the kind of stuff people pay thousands of dollars to get.
And if you need a hard number to make this hit home, here you go. We're talking about studies showing that if your sibling has glaucoma, your own risk can be up to 10 times higher than the general population. That's not a small bump. That is a massive, massive multiplier.
Okay, so the risk is clearly real. But listen, risk isn't a destiny, right? It's not a life sentence. It's a call to action. So let's take all this worry and turn it into a clear, concrete plan.
Here it is. This is a super practical roadmap for anyone who has a family history of serious eye disease. So if you're in your 20s or 30s, you want to get a baseline exam every 3 to 5 years. Easy enough. But once you hit 40, you got to ramp it up every 1 to 2 years. And then, age 60 and up, an annual dilated exam is the absolute baseline. That's the bare minimum.
You know, they call glaucoma the silent thief of sight for a reason, but it's not totally invisible. It does leave clues. These right here are the red flags. That vision that's kind of missing or smudged on one side, just like my dad and the microwave clock. Or seeing halos around lights at night. These are not things you just ignore. And please, don't just Google them. These are call an eye doctor right now science. We're talking days, not weeks or months.
All right, knowing what to do is half the battle. But doing it, that's a whole other story. So let's get real and talk about the two biggest things that get in the way for pretty much every family: money and, well, stubborn relatives.
First up, let's just break down the cost, because it can feel kind of intimidating. So in the US, if you have no insurance, you're probably looking at $100, maybe $200 for an exam. But if you have a vision plan through work, it usually drops way down to just a small copay, like $10 or $40. And for anyone on Medicare, there's a huge benefit that a lot of people don't even know about.
And this is a really big one, a pro tip for sure. If you're on Medicare, specifically Part B, and you have that family history we've been talking about, you are automatically considered high risk. And you know what that means? It means Medicare will cover an annual screening for glaucoma. This is a benefit you've earned. It's designed for exactly this situation. So please, don't leave it on the table.
But what about that other roadblock? This is the question I get all the time. What if my parent, or my aunt, or my sibling just refuses to go? You can have the money, the insurance, the perfect schedule, but you can't actually drag them there. So, what do you do?
Here's the trick. You gotta stop arguing about statistics and risk. That doesn't work. Instead, you have to talk about what they want to protect, their independence, their ability to drive, or read a book, or see their grandkids' faces clearly. Frame the exam as a way to protect that. And then make it easy. Offer to handle everything. Booking the appointment, driving them there, the whole 9 yards. And sometimes you just have to say the scary part out loud, like, I know you're worried about what they might find or about the cost. Just naming those fears can make them feel a whole lot smaller.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem, we've laid out the plan, and we've tackled those common hurdles. Now, let's bring it all home. Let's turn everything we've talked about into something you can do, like, right now.
This quote, this is what my dad told me, and it's the biggest lesson he learned. The whole point of getting checked is to go before you think you need to, because by the time you actually notice something is wrong, the damage has already started. That's when it counts, when you feel totally fine.
Look, you can shift your family from just worrying about this to actually doing something about it. And you can start in the next 15 minutes. Seriously. Take 3 minutes and just list every relative you can think of with glaucoma or another serious eye disease. Then, take 5 minutes to look back at that roadmap slide and figure out where you and your family fit in. And finally, spend 7 minutes and just look up just one eye clinic nearby that takes your insurance. That's it. In just 15 minutes, you've built the foundation of a plan that could literally save someone's sight.
Because, in the end, this isn't just about eye exams, is it? It's really about how your family shows up for each other, your family's health story. It's already being written. The first chapters are there, but you get to decide what happens next. You hold the pen. So, what will your chapter say?